Hey, so are the Terminators really coming for us? Are the Google bots going to get us? Is SEO going to become just a completely automated process that requires no human involvement? These are the big questions, and that is what we're going to discuss in this episode of Ask Aaron as we look at what does the future of SEO really look like. Let's get into it. Okay, so before we go any further, I want to just give a bit of perspective here because it's very easy to think that AI is new. It's a new thing because there's so much talk about ChatGPT and all of these different AI tools over the last few months that it's very easy to sort of lose that perspective and think, oh, this is new. The reality is, my friends, that Google is AI. AI is Google. Since Google's inception more than 2 decades ago, it was founded on AI. Yes, a more primitive AI, and yes, AI has evolved massively over the last 20 odd years. But in principle, Google is an algorithm. That algorithm is and leverages and utilizes AI to do what we all know and love about Google, the way it provides those search results, the way it collates the world's information and makes it universally accessible. That is leveraging AI. So when we're thinking about AI and what's our role and how is AI going to evolve and what do we need to do as within our brand and how do we need to change things, it's important to just get a bit of perspective. And what I want to do in this video is share 3 key things I think we are going to see into the future of SEO and really just give a bit of perspective and a bit of a reassurance, I guess, because I know we've had clients sort of thinking, oh, well, what do we need to do and what needs to change? And oh, everything's going to be going crazy. And we're like, no, it's going to be absolutely fine. Like nothing fundamentally is going to change because you're already leveraging AI. Now, you've only got to think about the way your website works today, the way you use the various tools that you use, the way that an SEO agency or a digital marketing agency, or whether you are working for a brand or you own a brand or you work at an agency or you're a freelancer, whatever your job role is currently and your reason for ultimately seeing this and clicking this video, wherever you sit on that fence, your role is going to be entwined with AI already. And I'll give you some examples of that. So the way your website, we already have tools for crawling your website. We already have tools for auditing your website. We already have tools for providing recommendations on how we can improve this, or there's an error here, or you need to fix this, or you need to do that. All of these things are leveraging AI. Even, when it comes to things like improving the grammar and the punctuation, tools like Grammarly, they're all leveraging AI to help you, the user, do a better job on improving your website, making it a better experience for the user, and ultimately getting it indexed into the search results so when someone punches in what they're looking for, your product comes up. So we're already leveraging AI and utilizing AI in a myriad of different ways. And it's important to just kind of go, oh yeah, actually I need to remember that when I'm thinking about what the future looks like. What I do think is going to happen, and my first big prediction when it comes to what the future of SEO looks like, is the technical side of SEO is going to become even more reliant on AI than it is on the human. At the moment, let's say hypothetically it's a 50-50 split. We already have, as the human already has a plethora of tools and solutions that can leverage AI to do crawling, auditing, optimization, this, that, the other, 101 different things. Looking ahead into the future, I predict that those tools are naturally just going to become smarter and they're going to become even more woven into the very fabric of not just what we do, but how we do it and why we're doing it and the end purpose of what we're trying to achieve. And so I think things like the way we optimize our websites, to go a little bit technical from the way we utilize canonicalization, the way we set up our sitemaps, the way we get our websites to be structured, to the navigation of them, the usability of them, that is going to increasingly be leveraged by AI because frankly, the algorithm is going to understand what we're trying to achieve and how we're going to do it. And it's going to become less and less reliant on the human. So I think what we'll see in agencies and in brands is the out and out tech role will become less prominent. Now, there are going to be some exceptions to the rule. Huge companies will probably have this role, but so many of the systems, the solutions, the CMSs, the content managers, your Shopify's, your WordPress, your WooCommerce, your Magentos of this world, you've only got to look at over the last few years how sophisticated they've become and how much they have improved to sort of go, okay, yeah, I can see a scenario where out of the box, these tools are just going to be able to do everything and we're not going to need to worry. And I think when we look at some of the typically the more involved things that would and still do require more of a human involvement, I think that is going to become less and less reliant on the human and more dependent on the AI, which actually just frees the human up to come on to the other things, which we'll come on to. And I think out of the box, these solutions are just going to do a better and better job. We're already seeing it. And I think things that in the past have given you a competitive edge, like site speed, the way your site is indexed. Schema, great example. Schema, back in the day, you had really good structured schema on your website, that gave you a competitive edge. Now AI can write all of your schema, jobs are good. And I just think those are kind of little signs of like, we're going to become less reliant on the human, way more reliant on AI. And why wouldn't we? Because, that's a good thing. It frees up the human to be more creative. I think other areas and things that we're not quite there yet, but we're seeing some very smart things is AI is going to be able to work out the best use of internal linking and site navigation and site structure, and how to leverage internal linking opportunities, and how to best ensure relevance across pages in terms of optimization of cluster of topics and stuff like that. So I think it's going to get very, very interesting and very quick. And I think we're going to lean into that as agencies, as thought leaders at the sharp edge of our industry, and how the internet and how Google is evolving. I think we've got to lean into that and just kind of go with it, because I think it's not going to change course. And I think that's quite exciting. So I think that overall, to keep it in simple terms, if we're 50-50 now on the tech and the user in terms of the two come together and work, I think it's going to go more 70-30, 80-20 towards AI, and the human's going to have less involvement, more strategic involvement, and the machine's just going to frankly do a better job. And you can get a flavour of that by looking at what's happening with ChatGPT and all of these other tools, and how things are going. I think it's quite interesting. So that's the first thing. The next thing is moving away from tech, is onto the content side of things. Content's really interesting. For years now, content has been, in its simplest form, I'm sort of deliberately dumbing this down, but content has been about write long form content, demonstrate you're an expert, tie into EAT, which is that expertise, demonstrate you're an authority, that you have experience, that you're trustworthy, that you're an expert, just really highlight that and create long form content. And, the very principle on evergreen content is about long form content, really, create something once, make sure it's the best on the web, and it will be there forever. And I think that's always going to play a part. But with what we're seeing in the way Google is leveraging AI, or the latest, iteration, the evolution of how AI is evolving, more and more of the answers to people's questions, more and more of how Google is presenting the information is frankly being presented in the search results page. What that's meaning is, I think content, you need to demonstrate your expertise, your authority, and all of that good stuff. But I think we're going to move away from it being about long form content, because frankly, users haven't got the time or the attention span to watch long videos or to read long form content. They want the answer there. And now, obviously I'm generalizing, but I think we're going to see brands moving away from, I need to write a 4,000, 5,000 word piece on X and white paper on this, that, or the other, and actually just provide really impactful, that really highlights your expertise, your authority. Build yourself as an author of expertise, but it's going to be shorter form content, more bite-sized content that Google is going to leverage and put into the search results. I think that's going to happen more and more. It's certainly what we're doing, where we're headed. And I think that again is quite interesting. And it'll be a step change from a content perspective in terms of what has been, for years now in the SERPs, the SERPs is like the search results pages. For years, that has been the longest, most in-depth, most detailed wins the race. I think we're going to move away from that, and that's quite interesting. And there's a myriad of different sort of repercussions and thoughts and pieces on from that, but I think that's going to start to be more and more prevalent in the search results. We're already seeing it. And I think that's going to be very, very interesting. Users, Google are already providing more and more of the content within the search results, so not requiring the user to step out to go into your website. I think that's a trend we're going to see more and more of. So it's going to leverage those rich snippets, that content, by extracting the key information. It will attribute you as the author of where that expertise came from, but it's going to provide that information in the search. We're already seeing that, and I think that's indicative of where we're headed. I think we're going to see more and more videos in the search results pages, which again are going to be autoplay, but honed in on exactly the information that you want, because Google's going to understand not just what you search, but it all ties into what Google's been doing for years. It's going to understand the meaning behind the why you're searching for something, as well as the what you're searching and how you're searching and when you're searching and where you're searching. It's going to tap into all of those things and just be able to provide you the answers there, now, bang, 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 where you want and when you want it, rather than you having to sort of go through, I've got to read a long form piece, I've got to watch a whole video. So I think that's going to be something else. I might be right, I might be wrong, but I can see that tech becoming more automated, content moving away from long form to shorter form. I think those are two very interesting things. So you might be wondering, well, okay, if that happens, if the tech side of my role is going to be increasingly reliant on the algorithm and AI, and then if content, well, we're not going to be writing as much long form content, well, where does that leave the human? If you run the business, if you're an e-commerce manager, if you're a brand manager, if you work agency side, if you're a freelancer, well, okay, what does that mean I'm going to be doing? So in my opinion, the human future of SEO is all about strategy and creative thinking. It's your ability to think differently that frankly is your greatest asset. It's your ability to be creative, to look at the bigger picture, to truly understand your customer, your product, the why and the how someone buys from you and they return to buy from you. It's your ability to ask those key questions of your sales team, of the customer service team, to really get to know the people behind the product. That is what is going to stand you out. Whether you're an internal SEO, whether you work at an agency and you provide SEO, it's not going to be about who can do the best technical this, that, and the other, or who can get the fastest page speed, because frankly, the bar is going to be set so high on that stuff, there isn't going to be a noticeable difference or improvement between you and everyone else, because the bar is just going to increasingly become raised so high. It's going to be about your ability to really, truly get to know why the customer is buying the product and how they're buying and from where they're buying and what are those pain points that you're addressing. And and some of that you'll already be doing. So it's not a case, oh, this is all new stuff. Absolutely not. And it goes back to, how we work with our clients today and how we have done for the last few years is, client will phone up, pick up the phone and, oh, we want SEO or we want PPC or whatever it is. I don't even want to discuss their SEO in those first few conversations. It's all about understanding the wider business plan. What is the vision for the brand? What are the commercial goals? What does success look like? And I think from a strategic level, that is key. And that is what the SEO role is going to increasingly look like. Because frankly, AI can only do only do as good a job as it can do. It's limited. Whereas your ability to think strategically and be creative in your output, that is the human advantage, essentially. And so when we're talking to brands, we're talking to prospects, for us, it's all about understanding that bigger picture. And it's then building a strategy first digital marketing growth strategy. That is what we do. We don't even start talking about the SEO this or the tech that or the content this until we understand what success looks like. It's going to become less and less about who has the best tech or who has the most content. And it's going to be about who has been the most creative in their output. And I think that is what the human future is going to look like. It's going to be a case of going, right, the way we're approaching our SEO, is it integral to the very fabric of the brand, of what we're doing, of how we're marketing? Because when your SEO team, whether it's internal or external, when that SEO team is talking to and working alongside the internal marketers, the sales team, the customer service team, and you're really sharing ideas, you're cross-pollinating in terms of the what, the why, the how, the when, the who. That is the stuff that you can bake in and turn your website into that information resource, into that hub of expertise. And then suddenly the tech's almost, not quite, but almost taking care of itself. The content, you're then serving a combination of long form and bite-sized chunks, but you're being creative in your output and you're being mindful of the overarching commercial goals. And I think that is the key, what we're seeing and what we're going to see long into the future, because that side of the human brain, the human way we approach SEO, that cannot and will not ever be replaced by AI. Do you agree? Do you fundamentally disagree with anything I've said? I would love to know in the comments below, so do let me know, and we can continue the debate in there. And if necessary, I can do more videos expanding on any of the key points that you found useful in this video, so let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.